Most of the times people pay extra cash without knowing. Maybe they're buying their car for the first time, but somebody's telling you pay this much or this thing will cost this much. People just pay because when you're very desperate, when you're very ignorant about cost, you don't really get to argue. But in this video, we want to look at some of the unnecessary costs or charges that most car buyers in car when they're buying their cars, either unknowingly or because of ignorance. The first thing that most people really in car or the charge is what we call the insurance. Unnecessary insurance, high cost charges. Most dealers will suggest that they give insurance when you're buying cars from them, especially in Mombasa. I'd say that do not tell the dealer to give you an insurance. Always have the insurance provider that you can reach out to. Why I'm saying this is because this insurance, one, will be very expensive because the dealer has to put their commission there to get their part. They don't care about what happens after that. In an event that something happens, when you call the dealer won't even respond to your calls because they have already gotten their commission and they are done with you. So the best thing that you can do to save on insurance, get an insurance provider that you can trust, somebody you can reach out to who can give you insurance. Number two, there's this thing that we call the broker fees. Who is a broker? A broker is somebody who actually links you, the buyer, and the seller of the car. They look for these cars, they advertise these cars, then they put their numbers there, so when you call them you can get them, they can take you where the car is and you can buy the car. But most of the times most clients are not aware that these brokers are being paid by the people who are selling these cars. Because why? They take businesses to them, so people come to buy cars still are obligated to pay these people. It's just out of courtesy that you can go into your pocket and pay a broker out of your pocket. Did you know these guys are being paid by the people who are really selling this car? So do not put it within your budget that you have to pay somebody who is looking for a car for you. Make it very clear. Tell them that I know you're being paid by the person who is really selling this car, but I'll not be able to pay you an extra cash. When you do this, please do it upfront before the deal is done, because let me tell you, anytime you walk in with a broker in any showroom in Mombasa, even if you go back and buy that car without that broker, the broker will be paid. Most clients do not know. So anytime you've gone with them, they will be paid. So do not pay them twice. It's just out of courtesy. Maybe somebody has really struggled. They've come for you at this. Yeah, maybe you think maybe you can top up and give them something. That is okay. But don't be obligated to budget for brokers' fees. Number three, there's this thing that we call the tracker. A tracking device is very important, by the way, so it really secures your car. It's one of the items that is very secretive that people should not know where to put it. But most people in car unnecessary cost when putting tracking. Remember, there are two scenarios. There's a person who is buying a car in cash and there's a person who is buying a car on credit. If you're buying a car on hire purchase, you don't have a voice on the tracking device being put on your car or the cost. But if you bought your car in cash, what you need to understand is that you have a lot of control. Do not actually tell the dealer to put the tracking device for you. I've said this severally in my videos and I'm just saying it again. Most people in car unnecessary cost, like in Mombasa, most of the dealers will charge you about 20,000 to 25,000 to put a tracking device. That is so expensive. A tracker should not actually cost more than 12,000, depending on the type of a tracking device. You can save up to 8,000 Kenyan shillings when you're putting this tracking device independently. Do not even tell the broker or the agent who has taken you there where the tracking is going to be put. So just leave with your car without the tracker. You'll save money and you'll also have stepped up your security levels in the car. Number four, alloy wheels, fog lights, roof rails. These are things that make the car very expensive. Remember what happens when these cars come to the port of Mombasa. There are cars which are just in the wheel caps, there are cars without maybe roof rails, cars without these alloy rims, fog lights. What these dealers do most of the times that they come, they put this stuff, and to make it worse, these are not the original Japanese stuff. Like if you look at the alloy rims, these are just the Chinese rims they have gone to and picked in these shops around, then they install. When you come there as a customer, you feel that this is something that is very legit. They tell you the roof rails are from Japan, and we've seen guys after some like 3 months the wheels are worn out and you're wondering, why did I pay much? So always try and get cars that if you have to put these things, you can put them yourself. You'll save a lot of money, and you can choose things that will actually last longer, because most of the dealers, they just put them for the looks. They don't look for what we call durability. So do not really insist that you want a car with alloy rims, with fog lights. These are things which have been put here in Mombasa, and they are from China, most of them. So you'll be paying much. So that is one thing to avoid. The next thing that you can avoid, things like back camera fixation. These are selling points most of the dealers use to actually appeal to the buyers. When a person comes and sees a back camera, reverse camera, they are saying, yes, I want this car with the reverse camera, not knowing this is a very cheap camera that has just been taken out of the Chinese shops around here, costing around 3,000. Then they install this camera, then now the car price goes up. What you could do actually is just to take that car without that camera, go to the market, look for a good camera. You may spend more, but you'll get a camera that will give you a good service. These cameras which are being installed by these dealers, after 2 months, you can hardly see. I've seen quite a number of them. The installation of these aftermarket things for the dealers is for them to put the car in a condition to actually appeal to the buyer. So those are some things you want to avoid. And therefore, there's another thing that you can avoid to actually minimize spending much when you're buying your car. There is what we call logbook transfer charges. Remember, now you bought your car, you paid in cash, and therefore the dealer is telling you, no, for us to transfer the logbook, you have to pay 6,000 Kenyan shillings. Let me tell you, as the potential buyer, it is not that 6,000 shillings. The charges for transferring the logbook are only stipulated by NTSA, and they're available online. So the charges depend on what we call the engine size of the car. From 1,500cc and above, maybe from 2,000cc going onwards, how much should you be paying? That is the guidance. But do not walk out of the dealership without transferring this. And if you have to transfer, tell the dealer, share the charges with them, pay to NTSA direct. Actually, you don't have to pay the dealer anything to transfer the logbook, because that is part of sales process. If the logbook is ready, your team's account is ready, let the dealer just transfer the logbook to you directly. The same as number plate registration. So as somebody walks in to buy a car and they're being told, no, you have to pay for us to register or to lodge the number of this car. That is the responsibility of the car dealer who is selling this car. Do not pay anything. Tell the dealer, I'm buying the car, register the car, and it's okay. So guys, those are some of the ways most of the dealers will rip you off, or most of the sales agents will try to rip you off for your money. So be on the lookout and use these tips whenever you're going to buy a car. Maybe they will actually come in. Another thing that I see most people spending a lot of money on is service after buying the car. This is very important, as we know that any car that has been there for some time needs to be serviced before it can be put on the road. But most car buyers do not really understand this is an avenue for money for quite a number of people. So whenever you bought your car and the dealer may suggest service, of course there are dealers with service provision that they come and service your car and you pay something. Do not do that. Also, we have independent service providers. People will go and change oil filters, things like that. They will change the oil itself, they will change the air cleaner. So what you need to understand is that not everything that these people recommend needs to be changed. Always be wise enough. Wisdom is actually knowing that you need the most important and urgent things in the car. Things such as the oil. The oil is very, very important, and maybe the air filter, you can use that. There are some things that are not necessary. Things like maybe putting the tint, things like maybe identity. There are quite a number of service items that you will be given, but be wise enough to choose what is really, really urgent. With that, I've seen services costing more than another 50,000 on small cars. And people, since you're buying your car for the first time and you have money, you're like, oh, I think this is important because they have said it. Somebody is saying, let us put the mat inside here, and you're just saying yes. If you have an agent who is really taking you to do service, remember, there's maybe a commission for them. So you need to be very, very strategic. You need to be very, very keen. Things like alarm. Alarm is very, very important. But again, is it urgent? Is it that urgent at the point of whereby you're buying a car? Remember, when you buy a car, you still need to actually have some money that can be used in terms of emergency. So do not overspend on the service. I'd advise that you choose the service items which are very important and urgent. So guys, that has been my video, and thank you for watching up to this point in time. Thank you.